Welcome. My name is Jordan Guillen, and I'm the Fitness and Sports Coordinator for London, Ontario, servicing Southwestern Ontario. I'd like to welcome you to the workout today. Today we're going to be focusing on a total body circuit. In this circuit, we're going to be focusing on a combination of aerobic and muscular activity. We're going to be performing each of these exercises for a 40-second time frame followed by 20 seconds rest. And we're going to be performing them in a series followed by additional recovery. So we're going to focus on aerobic activity, which will be 40 seconds in duration, 20 seconds rest, a lower body activity, which will be done for 40 seconds, 20 seconds rest, and the same thing will be then done for the upper body activity. We're then going to rest for a minute to a minute and a half. We're going to complete 2 additional series, so there'll be 3 in total, and we're going to complete each of these 3 series twice. So the overall workout is going to be 40 minutes in total, which will include both the warm-up and the cool-down. I hope that you enjoy it. For your safety, please ensure you read the full disclaimer in the description of this video before you start your virtual training. Get started with our warm-up. So the purpose of the warm-up is to get the blood flowing, get the joints warmed up, get our body ready for the workout. So let's just start off with moving the arms across the body. So we're going to open up the chest in that arms extended position. As you can see, I'm moving forward and back. Just a preference here, so you can move around a little bit with your feet, or you can just stand on the spot. So just focus on opening up that chest in the extended position. We're going to help to get the shoulders loosened up as well. And let's just switch our movement now. So let's just sway the arms from the side of the body up and overhead, still moving back and forth. We're standing on the spot with possibly feet movement. So we're just going to focus on gradually increasing the heart rate. We'll do some more dynamic movement through the upper body, and then we're going to move into the lower body and progress into some aerobic-based activity to help elevate the heart rate and to better prepare us for today's training. So from here, let's just focus on pushing in and out. And what I want you to do is, as you move in and out, think about what you're doing. Don't just simply move through the range of motion without thought. I want you to focus on retracting your back, which means bringing your shoulder blades together in the back position and pushing out and contracting your chest as you move forward. This will help prepare us for the push-up. So from here, let's move up overhead, and you can still be moving with your feet, or you can be standing in one spot. So you might feel a little bit of fatigue starting to build up, possibly not, but let's keep moving through. So let's relax the upper body, shake it out, and from here, let's start into the lower body. So we're just going to start off with some knee raises, help to loosen up the lower body before we get into some more intense movement. So once again, just gradually loosening up, waking up the body, getting prepared overall for today's session. And from here, let's just focus on some heels back. So I'm just focusing on bringing the heels in towards the glutes. If you want to hinge a little bit, keeping a neutral or arched spine, that's completely fine as well. I find I can contract in through the hamstrings a little bit better that way. And once again, thinking about what you're doing, try to make that connection rather than just going through a movement. So from here, let's focus on just walking it out. Let's bring up the heart rate a little bit, and we'll do that by just jogging on the spot to start. I like to move back and forth. So just gradually increasing that heart rate, waking up the body. Focus on getting that blood flowing. Let's get into some specifics now. So let's go into a fast feet movement, although we're keeping it moderate for now. Let's not focus on the intensity too high. We're going to work our way into that throughout the class. So just a moderate pace, just enough to get the blood flowing, to increase the heart rate a little bit more. From here, let's go into a football shuffle, another movement we're going to do today, which is just in and out. So I'll slow that down a little bit. And you can modify it at home. Any kind of movement really will suffice. The whole purpose of these aerobic movements is to get the heart rate up. So from here, let's just walk it out. It should be relatively loose now. Let's just focus on doing a few squats on the spot. So feet are hip width, shoulder width apart. Control through your negative, a little bit more explosive through your positive. Keep a nice neutral spine, if not arched, and modify the depth if you need to. You don't necessarily need to go as deep as I am. Let's move into a lunge. So I want you to try to stay upright through your upper body, and let's step forward and back, and let's just alternate from one side to the other. So trying to focus primarily on the quad, which is why we're keeping our body in more of an upright vertical position. Try to not allow your front heel to lift up off the ground. So just adjusting your depth based upon where you're at individually. Lots of modifications can certainly be made. So from here, let's bring it into a high plank position, and let's go into a few push-ups. So focus once again on retracting through the back. Head is neutral. Modify, obviously, if you need to. This can be done from the knees as well. So let's bring it up. Let's focus on bringing the legs in and out, almost as if we were doing a mountain climber, which we will be doing in today's class. So stay nice and neutral through your body. Keep your core nice and engaged, and let's hold it up there. So a couple of things I want to mention before we get started. You can go ahead, you can grab a drink. As you can see, my heart rate is certainly elevated. Definitely ready to start into the class. So take a moment, grab a drink. I did want to talk about a few of the movements. I demonstrated a couple options for push-ups. I'd recommend you start off with the most difficult, being the push-up. You can always drop down to the knee, and then you also have the option to go into a negative. The negative will be a slow, controlled movement with a brief period of rest, and then you'll modify and assist yourself back to the top range of the motion. If you're using a backpack at home for resistance, you can also focus on doing a push-up using this, a chest press using this movement. And we can also modify as well for some of the other exercises we're going to do. So let's go ahead, let's get started. We're going to start off for the first 20 seconds, and we're going to moderately do the football shuffle. The fast feet. So we're just going to move on the spot here for the first 20 seconds. And if you want to take the intensity even higher, you're going to speed up your movement with me. So let's focus on speeding up the movement. And on my pace, we're going to drop up and down. So 3, 2, 1, down and up, fast feet. 3, 2, 1, up and down, and then fast feet. So here we're going to take a little moment of rest. So that should have spiked the heart rate up. So take this time right now to focus on catching your breath. We're not going to quite grab a drink yet. We're going to be moving into a squat. So on my pace, we're going to start into that squat. So in 3, 2, 1, and start. So we're going to try to move through continuously, but you can definitely stop to rest at any point. So if you're finding the time durations are too long, then just focus on taking additional rest. You can start back up as soon as you're ready. So overall, you'll just be doing less work in total. And we're going to come into the push-up. So push-up's going to be performed for 40 seconds. I'm going to use modifications. I'm going to start with a regular push-up, then I'm going to move to my knees, and I'm going to finish off with a negative. So starting into that upper position, and moving through nice and controlled. So I'm doing the first 5 from the upper position, the next 5 from the knees, and then I'm going to move into the negative. So I'm going to control myself down, rest for a brief moment, help myself back up, control down, help myself up. All right, so here's where we get into more of the extended rest. We're going to take a full minute. My heart rate's definitely up. I'm sure that your guys is as well. So just take a moment, grab a drink, let your heart rate come back down, and we'll start back up once the time has lapsed. So another 40 seconds. So you can walk it out, just move around on the spot if you choose to. If you need more time or more rest, just focus on taking that time, taking that rest. We're about to move into the mountain climber, so let's get ready to move into that position. And we'll focus on just giving it a little bit more time here. And on my cue. So into the top position. And let's just start off slow and controlled. Try to stay relatively straight, keeping the body nice and controlled. And you can continue here with this pace, or you can move on my cue. Let's bring up the pace a little bit here, just for the last 20 seconds. Let's hang in there. Let's keep pushing. Less than 10 seconds. Take a breather. Heart rate's definitely jacked up at this point. Just move around. I definitely am already perspiring quite a bit. We're going to move into the lunge and then the row. So let's just make sure that we do alternate from one leg to the other, trying to keep the body relatively straight. Try to control your breathing at this point. I'm definitely trying to get my heart rate to come down a little bit here. But with more work than rest, it's only natural that the heart rate is going to stay elevated. All right, take 20 seconds. We're going to move into the row. If you're using a backpack at home, you can come into the position slightly arched back and focus on lifting. I'm going to move into a row using the band. So I'm going to set my position here. I'm going to keep a slightly arched spine, and as I move to the top or the shortest position, I'm going to focus on squeezing and contracting. And I'm moving nice and slow in control to the bottom position, making sure that I'm focusing on the exact areas in which I intend. All right, take a breather. This is where we're going to take that extended break period. So it'll just be over a minute, I believe about a minute and 20 in total. So just focus on moving around, letting your heart rate come down. Mine's certainly elevated quite a bit at this point. That can be expected considering the level of effort. If we didn't take this additional rest, it would be very hard to maintain the work that we're doing. So it's important for us after we finish our series of exercises to take that additional rest to bring the heart rate down a little bit, because it's definitely going to get brought back up into each of the series of exercises that we complete. So another 20 seconds after this lapses. Just focus on moving it around. If you need a drink and you haven't grabbed one, certainly go ahead and do so. We're going to move into fast feet. All right, so football shuffle. So we're just going moderately at this point. So at the 20-second mark, you can either continue or you can focus on picking up the pace and trying to drive the heart rate up a little bit further. So 3, 2, and let's pick it up. So trying to get a little bit of a quicker movement, slightly arched spine. So just focusing on that in and out, and then we're going to move into a Romanian style deadlift. So in and out, and then just walk it out here. So with the Romanian style deadlift, if you have your backpack, you can certainly use this. We come from a low to an upper position, keeping an arched back. We never want to round over, and the knees are going to remain slightly bent. So we're doing this for the 40 seconds here. I'm going to get into position, and then I'm up and to the top position. So I'm going to try not to fully extend back. So I'm going to exaggerate here. This would be fully back. I'm not going to do that because I want to try to keep my hamstrings engaged. So I'm not going to fully close out the movement. But shoulders are back, chest is out, knees are bent into that lower position, and I'm not locking out in the top. We're going to move into a shoulder press here, and I'm going to use a lighter resistance because 40 seconds is a bit of time here, but the same kind of thing with the shoulder. Okay, so we can focus on using that backpack if we choose to. I'm going to focus on stepping from behind, and I'm going to press up overhead. So I'm just going to come down into about a 90, and then I'm going to come right back overhead. I'm going to try not to fully come together at the top because I want to try to keep some tension on the shoulders at all times. So I'm trying to keep a slightly arched back as I move through this movement. All right, let's focus on taking that rest again, so that extended period. I know that my heart rate has kind of started to control itself a little bit. We're going to bring it back up and continue to keep it maintained in through this next series. So we're going to focus on moving through that same series. I think this was perhaps our time. Let's just give it a little bit longer here. So we'll take a little bit of extended rest. So we get another 45 seconds here. And then we're going to move back to the top. We're going to move back into the fast feet. with the drop. So at first it'll be somewhat moderate movement on the spot, and then we're just going to focus on increasing that pace overall. So once this time lapses, another 20 seconds of rest here, which isn't bad. In order for us to maintain the effort that we've put into the class, we need to ensure that we have an appropriate amount of rest. Otherwise, it's going to be quite difficult for us to maintain our intensity. So we're going to start again in 5 seconds. So we're going to focus on just that that fast feet. I keep getting the two mixed up, but just moderate here. And then for that last 20 seconds, we're going to add in that drop. So we're going to speed up the movement, and on my cue, we got the up and down if you're ready for it. So this is our second rotation through. So 2, 1, let's pick up the movement in 3, 2, 1, down and up. Fast feet, 3, 2, 1, down and up. Fast feet, 3, 2, 1, down and up. Fast feet, and 20 seconds. So take a breather here, walk it out, grab a drink if you need it. We're going to move into the squat. So you're going to adjust, you can modify, take additional rest if needed. Feet are hip width shoulder apart, chest is going to be elevated, and we're going to move through the squat. So control, explode a little bit more on the way up. Adjust your depth if need be, so we don't need to be moving through the full range. But let's try to drive off of the heels, using the glutes from that low position to help drive us back into the top position. Let's keep moving through. And we're going to move into the push-up. So I'm going to do the same as before. Remember the different options. Regular push-up from the knees, focusing on the negative, or just focusing on laying on your back and doing a chest press with your backpack or whatever resistance you have at home. Head neutral, body straight, controlling your movement. So that's 5. I'm going to come to the knees. And I'm really focused on retracting my back, trying to bring my shoulder blades together. I'm pushing inwards with my hands, really trying to contract the chest. And I'm going to finish with the negative, a little bit stronger through the negative. So I'm going to control down, take that little rest. All right, good stuff. So let's take that extended rest here. So we're going to rest for this initial 20, and then the 40, and another 20, and then we'll start up again. So we do have 2 more rounds that we're going to do. Back to the mountain climber with the lunge in the row, and then we're going to finish off with the last, which is that football shuffle, that in and out movement. The stiff leg or Romanian style deadlift with the shoulder press. So just catch your breath. My heart rate's still quite elevated. It does speak to the intensity of the class. As I stated earlier, more work than rest overall. So 20 more seconds. We're going to move into that mountain climber position. You can rest at any time. If you prefer, you can just hold the upper plank position, but you can do that full mountain climber movement if you so choose. You can pick up the pace with me as well if you choose to. So let's just start off, control in our movement. Try to keep neutral through the body. Good form is certainly important. So you can just hold this position as well. Just remember to try not to elevate too high. Try not to get any sagging. So just try to stay nice and straight. And let's pick up the movement to finish it out. And gradually bring yourself up. Heart rate's jacked up because of that intense movement at the end. We're going to move into that lunge. So alternating from one leg to the other. Just moving it back and forth until we start. So try to stay straight through the torso, looking forward, controlling our movement from side to side, modifying your depth if you need to, and then we're getting ready for the row. Great work at home. Let's keep it up. Modifying it where you need to. "20 seconds. And I'm using my band here. You might be using your backpack or some other form of resistance. Catch your breath. And let's get ready to start again. Just seeing how much time we have here overall. We're almost through. So let's get into position. And let's focus on moving through. Keeping that arched back. Controlling that movement. Try to keep your head neutral. So knees are bent. You're sitting back with your glutes. You're controlling that contraction in the shortest position, which is the top, but you're not letting go through the negative. You're controlling that resistance down and moving through. All right, taking our next breather here, and we're getting ready now to move into our last set. So use this time to grab a drink. Move around on the spot. We don't want to just stay still. So let the blood recirculate as we move around rather than standing on the spot. So another minute, and then we're going to move through the last series of exercises. So we're going to focus on that football shuffle, that Romanian deadlift, and that shoulder press. And that's going to wrap up today's workout. So we're almost through. Let's hang in there, everybody. Grab a drink, modify. Another 30 seconds, and we're into our last series, our last set. So 20 more seconds. So just move it around on the spot. The rest is important. The rest is what's going to be able to allow you to work at that higher intensity. Without the built-in rest, it's going to be hard to sustain the overall work durations that we're intending to. So let's focus on that in and out movement. And you can modify here. So the last 20 seconds is going to be to drive up the heart rate. So for now, let's just focus on keeping it relatively moderate, and let's pick it up in a moment here. So 3, 2, 1. Let's see how fast we can go here. So in and out, in and out. Drive up the heart rate here, moving in to the Romanian deadlift. So in and out. Last 5 seconds, almost there. And walk it out. Great job, guys. Let's get ready for the last lower body movement. So we're going to want to get our resistance ready. Using the backpack, maybe using a band. Just remember, I'm not coming all the way to the top. I'm keeping a slight hinge at my hips. And that way I can maintain a better amount of resistance in through the areas that I'm intending to train. So in through the hamstrings primarily, so the upper portion of the back leg. I'm keeping my chest up, moving through the exercise. So we got our one last movement here, and then we're going to be wrapping up the class. So great effort, well done thus far. We're almost done. So let's get ready. Let's move through this last exercise, which is the shoulder press. So I'm going to control my movement down, a little bit more explosive into the top, controlling it down, breathing in and out, in and out. Well done, let's keep it up. So resting if you need to. You can also move into alternating. This is going to engage a little bit more of the core as you move from one side to the other. Let's get out a couple more reps. Awesome, well done guys. Let's just take a moment here. Let's focus on walking it out. Let's grab a drink. The whole aim now is just going to be to gradually let the heart rate come down. And we're going to stretch out all the areas that we trained today. So take a moment, grab a drink. We want to make sure that we do rehydrate. I'm not going to indicate what to do aside from that. If you have any questions of post-workout nutrition, I can certainly guide you into those different workshops that would be available. So let's just start to stretch it out. So let's start off with one arm across the chest, so getting a stretch through the shoulder. And I'm going to recommend that we just move back and forth as we move through these stretches. And as we do this, I'm just going to remind you what our focus was overall today. So we are focusing on a total body circuit. We certainly had more work than rest, if not quite comparable in terms of work to rest. And I say that just because of the extended periods that we had taken following our series of the 3 exercises. So just kind of recapping, doing an aerobic based movement with a little bit of interval at the end to help drive up the heart rate. Then moving through a compound movement, which is a multi-joint movement for the lower body. And then we focused on an upper body movement. So in total for the lower body, we focused on a squat, a lunge, and we also ended up hitting a Romanian deadlift. And for the upper body, we focused on chest, back, and we hit shoulders. So technically today we hit everything. So in all of the movements we would have done today, complete total body. So just focus on, in this position, just trying to spread your upper back. So try to spread out your shoulder blades as you reach out in front and really try to protract your back. So that just means kind of flaring out your lats, okay, spreading it forward. And this will allow you to get a little bit better of a stretch. So let's bring the arms kind of to the back. I want you to press, so bring the shoulders towards the ground as you push your chest forward. You may have a slight arch through your back with your chest out, shoulders back. And you could also just focus on coming to the side and achieve the same thing. So we're trying to stretch out the chest here. So I mentioned that today was total body, and I talked primarily about those larger muscle groups. But what is to know is, as we're going through these movements, we'll stretch out the tricep. We're also actually hitting all of those smaller muscles. So as we're working through the chest press or moving through the push-up, we're not only targeting the chest, we're still hitting the tricep, we're hitting the front delt. Try to keep your head up as well. So trying to keep your chin up off your chest here. When we move into the back, we're not only hitting the back, we're hitting
the bicep, we're hitting the rear delt. So you can see how that could make up a total upper body. And then with the lower body, the squat, the lunge, and focusing on the Romanian deadlift, we're hitting the quads and the hams primarily. Hitting a little bit of core through the mountain climber. So overall, hitting the total body, which is what the intention was, while keeping the heart rate elevated. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move into some lower body. So I'm going to get you to bring one leg forward, and I want you to sit back into it. I want you to stay tall through the upper body, keeping your chest up. And we're focusing on sitting back, so pushing back at the hips, slight bend in the supporting leg, but both feet are pointing forward. We're getting a good stretch through the back of that extended leg. So the same area that we would have trained in doing the Romanian style deadlift. Now let's switch to the other side of the body. So sitting back into it, I'm stretching the back of the upper leg. I'm still pointing forward. I'm still keeping my chest up. I'm trying not to round forward. And the way that I can enhance the stretch is just try to sit deeper, and I can really feel my hamstring pull a little bit further as I sit deeper into that movement. So heel is down, toe is up. So let's stand it back up. I'm going to go into the next movement, which is going to be a quadricep stretch. So you can use a wall, you can move to the floor, but I'm just going to focus on grabbing one leg, and I'm trying to keep both of my legs together. I'm trying not to focus on coming out to the side. And I'm trying to bring my heel in towards my glute. And if I want to enhance the stretch, I just need to push my hip a little bit forward, and I can right away feel that quadricep stretch even further, so it gets tighter, and I can feel a little bit of the discomfort. So I'm going to come to the side as I alternate. So I'm trying to stay straight and tall through the body. My quads are together, so my upper legs, as I bring this heel in towards my glute. Now it's important to note that my opposite leg is slightly bent, and my breathing rate is starting to come down to more of a normal breathing rate. So certainly still well above rest, but starting to come down. So from here, let's just focus on stepping forward into almost a lunge type position. So we want the back leg in and around a 45-degree angle. And let's stay nice and tall here to start. We're just lunging slightly forward here. So front heel is down. Let's take the arm on this side, so the same side where the knee is in towards the ground. And let's just raise it up and try to move slightly over without moving too extreme. So you'll feel a little bit more of a stretch here in this position. So let's focus on coming down now. Let's take this leg a little bit wider, and let's just focus on coming down into a lower position to open up the hip. I can feel it a little bit through the groin as well. So the inner part of the thigh, the upper part of the thigh, in towards the groin area. And let's just bring it back up. Let's do that same stretch on the other side. I'm just going to change my positioning here. So the back leg is on a bit of an angle. Let's reach up and let's just hold this position. So staying nice and tall, trying to stay neutral with our body. Focusing on your breathing. I'm going to take this leg a little bit wider, and I'm again going to come into it. So trying to stay somewhat neutral, but I can really feel myself open up. And some of you might be a little bit more flexible than I, so you can focus on maybe bringing it down even lower here. So I'm just going to bring it down into a seated position, and from here I'm going to take one leg, I'm going to bring it over, and I'm just going to focus on pulling it in towards my chest. I'm trying to stay tall through my back, so trying to still keep my chest out, and I really feel this stretch through the glute. So the side where the leg is up and over, and we're focusing on bringing it in. Let's switch to the other side. I'm going to do the exact same stretch here. So hopefully your heart rates have come down. You're perspiring hopefully less at this point. I can see that my heart rate has definitely come down. However, I'm still in an aerobic zone, and that was just relative to the overall intensity of today's class. So not a lot of rest will generally equal a higher heart rate, especially if the intensity is maintained. So a higher intensity with less rest is going to force the heart rate to stay higher. It won't have that same ability to recover in between where you would normally take extended rests. But overall today, that was the focus: total body circuit, total body conditioning. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the class. Remember to check out CF Morale and Welfare Services on YouTube for more videos like this and a variety of workshops. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to the page. Thank you very much. Until next time, Jordan Guillen, PSP Fitness and Sports Coordinator out of London, Ontario, servicing Southwestern Ontario. Have a great day.